Welcome, So-La-Rah here. I hope you guys are all doing well today. I'm here to do another reading. I wanted to take the opportunity, as always, to thank you all for being here. Welcome to my newest subscribers. Thank you to those of you who've been here from the beginning or have come somewhere along the way. Thank you for all the ways you support the channel and my mission and purpose. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your shares, your subscribes, your emails, your booking me for services, your donations. I appreciate it all. Thank you so much. So I want to get into it because I don't have too much time. This is going to be a shorter formed reading today. And I'm moving on to the next topic that my guides gave me this past Saturday. And that was, oh no, they gave me this on Sunday. This was a Sunday message they gave me. And the title that they gave me, or the theme, was they had you under spiritual conservatorship. And they tried to pass this forward to another family member. So I've spoken very briefly about this in passing in other videos, and that is that the laws that we live by, or we abide by naturally, and not natural laws, I should say the institutional and systemic laws that we abide by on the earth, are modeled after the cosmological law system, or the cosmological legal system. So it is a bastardization of cosmological law, but it's still, some of its tenets still remain this, tongue-tied. Some of its tenets remain the same. And I say that because conservatorship, as we know it here on the physical planes, is all about when another being tries to take hold of another, an adult, tries to take over an adult's reality, in sense of it can be there can be all kinds of things that are stipulations placed in. It can be that they're over over a trust fund, they're over money, they're over how the person parents their children. It's all manner of legalities that have to do with how an adult, a grown person, is able to live their lives freely. And the reason why in the physical realm we do this is because they say that this adult is not able to do these things for themselves, for whatever reason, okay? We won't get too deep into this, right? And so, you know, the most famous situation with conservatorship that was contested, we all know who that was about, right? And so this theme, whenever we have a theme coming up in like media, it's often showing us something that's going on spiritually, as above, so below. And so when all of that was unfolding, I think it came to a head about 2 years ago, I remember in 2021, I was like, my team kept on directing me to the case. And I'm not one who likes to watch celebrities or pay attention to what's going on. I really... I'm not at this stage in my life, and yet there was something in it that they kept wanting to show me, and more recently I'm beginning to see, as they teach me about, you know, these principles that exist here on Earth, that already are in existence in the cosmos, and how a lot of this stuff works, that they've been showing me. It's led me to this place where they began to unfold this information. So this is very much, I feel like this is connected to the energy of, sorry, I got something in my eye, of the teaching I did, the downloads really I did. It was Friday, I did a message. It's the one that was like 1 hour and 51 minutes long, and it was about a legacy wanting out of a society, but not wanting to expose it themselves. And I really got in with that video about how some of these things occur, right? And I say all of that because this is feeling like it's another transaction through one of these societies, orders, covens, groups, factions, corporations, whatever you want to call them at this point, or however it aligns with your truth. And this feels like it is a legacy situation, whereby there was a passing on of some kind of or there was an attempt, let's put it this way. There was an attempt to pass on some kind of conservatorship, this is spiritually speaking, that another being had over you, or maybe someone else that you're listening to this message for. So as we've talked about throughout many videos at this point, the energy harvesting that occurs, those of you who've been targeted for these energy harvesting situations in very intense ways, right? Because we're all part of this energy harvesting system of the matrix. It's just to what degree. Those of you who have endured this, and it's been because of your family's connection to societies, orders, covens, these groups, a lot of the time they want to come through that family member to get to you. And I've said this before, it opens them up to your energy. And so, oh my gosh, I have something right now trying to mess with my throat, trying to mess with my ability to connect with my guides, trying to mess with my ability to speak. And I'm standing right here and I'm taking command over my own energy right now. You will not have me going around in loops. That's your reality, not mine. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to try to continue with what it was I was saying. No, I'm not going to try. I'm going to continue with what it was I was saying. So these groups, they make their deals, they make all manner of sacrifices. And oftentimes, if the sacrifice is in the spirit, what it is that they're constantly traumatizing you, to split you, to get you to give something up. And it's a form of sacrifice, right? So it feels like there was someone who may have sacrificed you. And I don't want to say they sacrificed you. They had you under their sacrifice schedule. Let's put it that way. They had you under their constant harvesting schedule through the deals that they entered into with this society. And it's almost like this person is either elevating into another stage of the society, or maybe you never really graduate. I don't know, or they're getting older. I don't know what it is. But it's feeling like they wanted to pass the baton on to the legacy that is now pledging or is now moving up. And the legacy is oftentimes, a child or a niece, a nephew, somebody with a family bloodline connection that the older or the one in the generation before is in charge of bringing that member in, or even coaching that member or mentoring that member through the stages, whether directly or indirectly. And so it feels like they were passing on, and I want to say ownership. And bear in mind, obviously nobody owns you, but I want to tell you, in their mind, it's like they own you. It's like you're a commodity, and it's like they're trading the commodity, or they're passing it on. It's like an inheritance. That's exactly what it is. It's an inheritance. It's like I'm moving up or I'm moving on, and so now this being, I'm putting them under your responsibility. You get to benefit. That's what it was. You get to benefit off of their sacrifice schedule. That's what I was getting. Anything else? There's a lot of stuff trying to come, to throw confusion at me. I'm battling it, I'm always battling it when I'm doing these readings, but today is intense. And I know why, because a lot of stuff is coming together and, getting breakthroughs or whatever. This is, what this is? It's a situation with a handler. Somebody was in charge of handling you. They were your main handler in your family. And either they're getting up in age, or they're moving to a higher level, or even, that's fucking sick. Or even they were passing it on as a gift. You were being passed on as a gift to the new generation the new generational legacy that was coming in, the new person that was coming in to take over the family legacy in the group, the society, the order, whatever, the coven. So you were being presented as a gift, either because a gift for them because they entered the society, or a gift because they were supposed to prove themselves. And to that extent, I feel like your main handler, whoever was your main handler in this family situation, and oftentimes this is a person in a place of authority. It's a father, it's a mother, it's an aunt, it's an uncle, you know? Your main handler, it was almost like they were put in a position to teach the person who was going to become your handler how to handle you. So this reading is going to resonate for you if at some point you felt like something was going on between your main handler, who, like I said, tends to be someone who was an authority figure in childhood, passing it on to somebody who you would consider in your family to be a contemporary. And all of a sudden that relationship with that contemporary, whether it was a sibling, whether it was a cousin, sometimes it's even a friend. It doesn't have to be, you know, like it's because it's all about it's who is able to continue. Like in the family legacy, of course, it's going to be in the bloodline. But for some of you, it won't necessarily just always be about family legacy. It's more about being able to pass on the so-called wisdom, which it's not wisdom. It's just screwed up knowledge. So at some point, this friend, cousin, sibling, contemporary, whoever this was in your life, started to do the very same things that your main handler was doing. In other words, they started to play the psychological games, giving you things, and then acting very cruel towards you, acting as if they were better than you. All of this other stuff. It's all psychological games to mind fuck you, to see if they can get a hold of your energy. It's so they can get their claws into your solar plexus energy so that they can make their will your will. That's really what it is. Handlers like to fully impose their will upon you and make you think, because what they're doing is so subtle, make you think that your response to their cues is just you living. That's why they do everything in secret but in plain sight. I'm going to get into the cards and see. I'm going to have some coffee. I'm going to get into the cards and see. And yes, my mug has no handle because it's one of my favorite mugs. And the handle broke off. But I'm still keeping it because I'm sentimental like that. Anyway, I'm going to go into one of my Karmic Chronicle decks. Okay, so this handler, this contemporary handler, was a person who constantly made you feel like your talents, wherever area you are talented in or you're gifted in, part of their job was to constantly make you doubt that part of self and to sabotage it. Now, this person was probably sabotaging it through manipulating you emotionally. This person would have had to stay in your fields, would have had to be intimately connected to you for a while. Whether they lived with you, whether they lived right next to you, whether you saw them all of the time, the point was that they had to have close access to you and your energy, because they were playing these psychological games with you. So these are the people in your life, and this won't be every person that does this in your life, because if you're a light being, you know that this is just kind of the way your life has probably been the whole time. But these are especially those people who are very quick to run in and save you and to give you stuff, but the minute you start to do things for yourself, there's no support, and then they're doing things to sabotage you. Okay, and then in doing that, they're trying to get you to question your ability, and oftentimes they'll come in when you're just beginning to, sort yourself out or move on a new direction or a new trajectory that actually is rooted in your calling. They'll come in and they'll try to give you like guidance and advice, and it will come across as being so logical and caring, but really what it is that they're trying to do is they're trying to manipulate you out of your purpose and into South Node living, or like that energy was trying to do at the beginning of the reading, keep you going around in certain loops so you don't access your North Node. Okay, thank you, Spirit. So we have Martian magic coming up. Martian magic, so that's to do with the planet Mars. Okay, so on this card it says courage, body strength, clarity of mind and direction, fraternal comradeship, voice of the people, fighting and warrior spirit, destruction by ego, sex and power, and assertiveness. So on the one hand, this is speaking to me about distorting masculine energy. It's that energy of the alpha male out of balance kind of thing. So you could have been dealing with that through a person, and it doesn't have to be a man. It can be a woman too, that are, those women that are really aggressive in their masculine energy. It could be that too, trying to really impose themselves and their will upon you, like they're your God and they know better. But what I'm really getting is that we have literally here, it says voice of the people. There's something here about how you're able to connect with people through how you speak or through how you communicate, whether it's like you do something like I do, like you have a platform, or whether it's even just like how you're able to connect on a one-to-one basis with a person. That is important. And that was one area where they were trying to minimize your talent, minimize the truth of that. And for some of you, these beings knew this about you, and not only did they try to minimize it, but they tried to use that for themselves. So they tried to suck your energy in that way, in the sense that they would come to you for advice and guidance. But like if you do something like I do, and you went out in the world and you started to do it, whether on a platform or whether even you went out there and started to be a healer, they would act as if you couldn't do it, or what do you think you're doing, and you're not qualified to do this, or you're not smart enough, or you don't have the credentials, or that they wanted to keep you in lack, and yet they wanted to use that energy and that talent to help them to advance, right? So this is all about control. It's about knowing you have a talent, knowing you have a gift, but them wanting to wield control over it so that they could siphon that energy for themselves in their own projects. They wanted you to destroy yourself by not healing wounds, because it says here destruction, but by ego. So the Mars energy, when it is in balance, it helps us to tune into fighting and standing up for ourselves, but also standing up for what is right. When the Mars energy is out of balance, it can either make us completely passive, or on the other end, like really impulsive and aggressive, and not assertive. It makes us, it can be a little bit bullying, right? So there's something here about wanting you out of balance, whether it's that you were like angry all the time, or whether it was that you just were like passive. Okay, for some of you, they wanted you like addicted to sex. Okay, sex and power here. For some of you, they were utilizing sex as a weapon to steal from you, or to empower themselves off your energy. They were always trying to mess with your clarity of mind and the direction you were choosing to go into. Okay, so again, I want to remind you, I'm speaking about this is the behavior of the handler, period. So this is the behavior that somebody from the time you were a child has been manipulating over you, and they were showing someone else, a contemporary, how to do this too. So now the contemporary is trying to do this to you too. So try to get you off path. Every time you think you have a clear way forward, they come in, and it's very subtle the way they do it too. They come in and they're just like, if I give you this, I really think it's a good idea if you start doing this, and I'll even help you, kind of thing. Or yeah, that's a great idea, but have you thought about blah, blah, blah? Or it might be advantageous if you put it off and you do this first. Like always trying to make you feel as if you're not ready for something, so that they can direct you on another path, that they pretend like that path is leading you deeper into what it is you want to achieve. But really what it is that they're doing is they're trying to see how much they can get away with getting you to make decisions based upon their guidance or based upon their manipulation. Because remember, a handler, the purpose of being a handler is to get control of your will, is to become your master, but to do it in a way where you think, oh, I'm just taking guidance and advice, and oh, this person is helpful. It's very, very fucked up, because the way they often will do it, they will alternate between being really kind to you and then being really mean. Right? So they'll be really kind to you when they're trying to manipulate you and get you on the path that they want you to miss your direction. And when you do get on that path, when you fall for that, that's when they will become really mean, and sometimes they'll take away all of their support. Any support that they promised you, whether it was monetary, whether it was, emotional, it doesn't matter. They'll withdraw all of their support. And that is part of their whole way of programming you into states of dependency, because it's like abuse. It's not like abuse, it is abuse, but it's like when you're in an abusive relationship, like an abusive marriage, where a spouse will beat you up, and then they'll come back and they'll be, I'm so sorry, and they'll act like they're sorry for a good amount of time until they get you to regain your trust. Regain their trust, and then all of a sudden they'll do it again, and you repeat the cycle, and every time you get drawn more and more into the cycle of abuse, and you become more and more emotionally dependent or financially dependent, because all the time while they're putting you through that cycle, they're taking more from you. They're taking more of your energy. They're siphoning your confidence. They're taking something from you to put you in a state where you become more dependent upon being with them, staying with them, listening to them. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's exactly the same format, except what makes a handler different than the outwardly abusive person is that the way that they do things is like, unless you wake up and you become aware of how this kind of manipulation and abuse works, it comes across as being completely benign. Like, you feel it as being very wrong, but if you try to explain it to people, especially those people who have a commitment to not wanting to see you rise anyway, oftentimes they'll dismiss it as you just being, as you being like dramatic or being a victim, right? And then of course that adds to the injury, because every time you're traumatized, and this is like the flying monkey energy, every time you're traumatized and you're invalidated, it causes another wound. It's a re-traumatization. I'm sorry, before I shuffle, we do have the sixth house. The sixth house. So this person, this handler, what they were also, should I take that out? You said, yeah. This handler was also, and something significant is happening for you on the 9-9 portal. Okay. Virgo season is a big one for many of you who, if you resonate with my messages. Virgo energy is all about liberation in general, but there's a big severance energy that's coming for many through the energy of Virgo season. But the sixth house is all about causing constant disruptions in your day-to-day, in the things that create stability in your day-to-day life, in your ability to look after yourself. So this is to do with health. This is to do with finances. This is to do with pursuing the things that you need in order to grow and evolve. This is to do with the habits that you're able to form because you're in good health, or because you have mental clarity, or because you have the finances you need. That's what the sixth house is concerned with. So whoever this handler, these handlers, or who they were passing you off to another handler under this kind of spiritual conservatorship where they were owning your energy. And for many of you, it goes back to that Mary reading I was doing on Sunday about those of you who might be descendants of that line. It had to do with wielding possession over your womb energy, over your sacral energy, by dominating you through the solar plexus. Because he who runs your solar plexus runs you. And the thing about connecting to a person's solar plexus is that you have to have some kind of emotional intimacy with that being. You have to have some kind of emotional connection, emotional tie. There is a heartstring also, because the solar plexus energy is very much about your emotions too, and it's very much about how you form emotional bonds based upon childhood experiences. So it's very much connected, and I was talking a little bit about this in Leo season, to the limbic system. So the limbic system is kind of the part of your nervous system that helps you connect to like memories based upon emotion. And that's a real simplification of it, like a huge simplification. But your limbic system is kind of, it's primarily formed by way of of how your emotional foundation is formed through childhood. And then throughout adulthood, you are constantly responding from that place, which is why we do the inner child healing. It's deeper than just the psychology of it. It's the healing of your actual nervous system. So your nervous system begins to respond in new ways and begins to recognize what is safe for you and what isn't. And that's kind of what Cancer season was about. It was about learning new attachment styles and learning how to allow our nervous systems to heal and to no longer allow these energies into our fields that dysregulate them. Okay, we're done with this deck, but at the bottom we have thought forms and projections, despair, anxiety, and fear. So this person was learning how to project nasty mental energy towards you. So this would be a pertinent message for those of you who, when you come around a certain being or a certain group of people, all of a sudden you start to have these really horrible thoughts about yourself and you become downcast, or even your throat chakra gets blocked. You can't speak. That's how it might present itself energetically, but within the context of your own internal reality, you might have like really increased self-doubt, increased anxiety, every energy that would work against you being able to feel stable in self and be able to progress, and to with the clarity of mind you need to make decisions, or even to just to look after yourself. Because for some of you, these beings were projecting such heavy mental energy. It was literally like death magic. And I've talked about, how using mental energy in destructive ways is a form of death magic. And I'm going to be getting into that because there was someone who asked a question in regards to another video, I think the video I did yesterday, and my guides asked me to do a whole reading on that. And I'm going to do that, but I felt like it was going to be longer, and I don't have the time to delve into that today. So, but I will get into that. But the point is that mental energy, when it is destructively being sent, it is a very powerful form of death magic that can cause someone to take themselves out, because the culmination of a lot of it can lead someone into states of suicide, okay, or unaliving self. So if this was a situation where you come around these beings and you start feeling that way, and now as a person who has done the work and knows the difference between your energy and their energy, when they come around, you still start to feel that energy trying to get into your fields, this is why. But as always, when it comes to dealing with mental health, and especially this energy of wanting to unalive oneself, I implore you, I beg you, if this is you and you're still struggling with those kinds of thoughts, to please seek the help you need, And it's so important, because the buildup of that energy, sometimes, all it needs is someone else to share it with. Okay, because it's energy, and it's a buildup of energy to get to the state of wanting to unalive oneself is a buildup of a lot of destructive mental energy. And so if you sit in it, it only becomes worse. So finding someone to who's in a professional, in a professional environment can like help you to get that energy moving and flowing and making sense of it. That simple act in and of itself can help. And I say that from a position of a person who has dealt with that. I dealt with that from the time I was a child because of the amount of projected mental energies that were coming into my field, and I didn't know why. It started for me, those thoughts, those desires, those even attempts as a child. So I come to you as a person who is very, who can empathize, fully empathize with that too. And as such, I've had to battle it my whole life. But when I finally began to realize that it wasn't my energy, that was the changing point. That was a game changer for me. So please, that kind of energy, and this is something else I want to tell you because my guide said this to me at one of my lowest points, like when somebody had literally attempted to take my life, okay? And they said to me, everything, even in your biology, shows you that you're a survivor. So what does that mean? That means that your body itself will shut down a system before it allows everything to die. Your body is constantly fighting to keep you alive. So if you are in a situation mentally or emotionally where you're not wanting to be alive, that's not natural. It's not you. So get to the bottom of what it really is. I'm telling you, this is what they were saying to me at the time. And that was like a light bulb moment for me. It was way before I began to learn about this, but it helped me to continue enough to get the courage enough to continue to walk forward. So I would get to the place where this would begin to unravel for me too. Okay. Whew. It's the irony, and it's not really an irony, but those of us who've struggled with those thoughts, it's because we had a message, voice of the people. It's because we had a message that from a very early time in our lives, they were trying to silence. Before we could even get the message, they were trying to silence us. Before we could even get the message, let alone speak it, they were trying to silence us. And for some of you, no. I will say that this is an energy of Taurus. It's an attack against the throat. It's an attack against your ability to wield authority over your own energy field. It's Taurus energy, it's second house. So those of you with second house stelliums, prominent Taurus energy in your charts, Chiron in Taurus, Chiron in your second house, possibly Lilith, Mars in the second house. I've got to close this out, but breathe. That's what it's saying at the bottom. Breathe. This is so important. Like I know we hear about breath work, but we don't often. We hear in the spiritual community we're supposed to breathe, and if you are like do breath work, and if you are more inclined to like functional medicine, functional nutrition, and functional fitness, then also breath work is something that you might have been schooled in. But the reason why breath work is so effective from the standpoint of healing is that because when you are traumatized time and time again, your body gets used to being in a state of fight or flight. And when your body is in fight or flight, not only are a lot of like, is there a lot happening like on a glandular level where everything is out of order, right? That creates higher states of like anxiety and fear and all of that. But what can happen is that your muscles can begin to tense up. You can start to hold on to things in your body and not even know it, and then later on you begin to create more pain because your body has become used to being very tense, and so it's created patterns within the connective tissues and the muscles where things are beginning to like harden and create more tension in the body, right? And so when you're beginning to retune like the nervous system and come out of the state of fight or flight, it's time to begin to let go of all of those things that began to occur in your body in response to being in that state. So for one thing, you know, you might have tightness in specific areas in terms of the muscles or the fascia. And what breathing does, I say all of that is that because what deep breathing does is it automatically puts your body into a state of parasympathetic mode, which is kind of, it's also called rest and digest. And in that place, you're in a place where you can receive, and everything begins to lose tension where you've been holding on to tension because there's become a pattern of doing that, right? So for some of you, as you continue to go through this healing process, breathwork is going to become really important. Virgo season, you know, on a practical level is about addressing your health also. And with the card that actually came out, there's no place like home. And I was getting this message today that it's time to, we're coming back into our bodies, many of us. And many of you have already you know, you might already consider that you've come back into your body, but the way I see it is that it's a process. And when you've been through a lot of trauma, you dissociate. And the whole point of causing like the whole point of all of this trying to traumatize you is to put you in dissociative states. And when you're in a dissociative state, you literally will leave your body because it's how you're able to handle the pain, and so the emotional and the mental pain and duress. And so now it's like we're learning how to fully come back into our bodies. And the process of fully coming back into our bodies means that a lot of the pain that was in our bodies that we weren't aware of because we were out of it, we begin to feel. And that's the process of coming back into our physical truth, because your body, your physical vessel, is your home. It's your only home on this earth. And this is why, you know, the Cancer energy, it's the crab. It's about us getting used to that on a practical level. But the Virgo energy is also about us creating like health, you know, like routines and certain health practices in order to nurture this home that we have and to make it feel like home. Virgo comes and it gives the beautiful touches that make our bodies feel like home. And so when we are stable in feeling like we are home in our own bodies, home in our own energy, then our external reality must become stable too. And this is why whoever this was constantly trying to mess with your sixth house and make you feel unstable and get you to redivert your path and yada, yada, yada. Because for as long as you're not in your own home, as long as you're not stable in your energy, you abandon ship. You give up your power. You give someone else the ability to manipulate your energy in the ways that they want to. And that was the point. So some of you are being called in the healing of this to focus on breath work and reclaiming your physical vessel as your home. Okay, so I've got to run. I've got an appointment, but yeah, I hope that I got into this. I hope that whoever this reading is for, I hope that it's helped you. I hope that it's empowered you. I hope that it's validated a lot of the shit that you've been through, because these assholes are so fucking, they're so fucking covert. They're so fucking covert. And the whole point was to have you feeling alone and like you were losing your mind throughout this whole situation, but you're not crazy. You never were crazy. And so I hope that this, I hope that this reading and these, and my going into it has helped to confirm what it is that you've been feeling, and to confirm your own confidence in your own intuition and experience, and to even add some kind of validation where you were constantly invalidated and therefore re-traumatized. Okay, so all information for how to work with me is in the description box below. You can contact me through my website once you've already looked at my website. My website is where I have all of my services listed. Then you can email me if you're interested, or go through my contact page. That's how I work. There's no checkout system on my website. You come directly to me via email and we converse about moving forward. Okay, so if you'd like to donate to the channel, the information for that is below. Thank you to all of you for your donations, and thank you to all of you for just how you sow into me. But I'm going to get going. I'm sending you all so much love, joy, peace, stability, the support you need, liberty, justice, joy. Did I say joy? You can never have enough joy. Every beautiful thing under the sun that is ultimately your birthright and opens up to you when you are walking in divine alignment and you've reconnected with Source, you've reconnected with your infinite supply. So I wish you guys all the best. I'll see you soon. Until next time, be well. Mwah.